Hello, America. You are tuned in to Ranting Politics Headline Updates, where we cut through the noise and get straight to the stories that matter. I'm your host, JOC, and today we've got a packed lineup of breaking news that's shaking up the political landscape. From mysterious drones over New Jersey to rising tensions at the Panama Canal, and a fascinating development in the AI world that's got everyone talking, we're covering it all. Plus, we'll dive into some intense developments at the southern border and an incredibly creative, though unsuccessful, attempt at drug smuggling that you won't believe. So stick around as we break down these stories with the facts you need and the context that matters. This is Ranting Politics Headline Updates, where we keep it real and keep you informed. Well, folks, let's dive into this bizarre story that had New Jersey residents looking up at the skies in confusion last year. The White House has finally cleared the air about those mysterious drone sightings that captured headlines and had everyone from local residents to the FBI scratching their heads. According to Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, who shared an update directly from President Trump himself, those drones that had people worried were actually authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration for research and various other purposes. Talk about a plot twist, right? The phenomenon got so intense that the FBI received around 5,000 tips about these mysterious flying objects. But get this, less than 100 of those tips were actually worth investigating. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Many of those reported drone sightings weren't even drones at all. According to DHS officials, they were actually just regular aircraft being misidentified. President Trump himself weighed in on the matter, noting that these sightings were particularly frequent over his Bedminster club. In his typical straightforward style, he remarked that if these were enemy drones, we would have known about it pretty quickly, suggesting these were likely just testing operations. So there you have it. What seemed like a potential security threat turned out to be a combination of authorized research flights, hobbyist activity, and good old-fashioned misidentification. Just goes to show how sometimes the most mysterious situations have the most mundane explanations. Fox News brought us this update that finally puts this drone drama to rest. In what's shaping up to be a major national security concern, Senator Ted Cruz is sounding the alarm about China's growing influence over the Panama Canal. During a Senate committee hearing, Cruz didn't mince words about what he calls acute risks to U.S. national security. Here's what's really turning heads. Chinese companies are currently building a bridge across the canal, but they're taking their sweet time about it, stretching the project to nearly a decade. And that's not all. They've also got control of container ports at both ends. According to Cruz, this setup gives China the perfect opportunity to block the canal without warning, while those ports serve as convenient observation posts. The financial impact hits close to home, too. With American cargo making up nearly 3/4 of canal traffic, those hefty transit fees are primarily coming out of U.S. pockets. We're talking about canal profits exceeding $3 billion, money that Cruz says is essentially being pulled from American taxpayers and consumers through higher prices on goods. President Trump didn't hesitate to address this situation head-on during his recent inauguration speech, stating bluntly that China is operating the Panama Canal and declaring, "We're taking it back." Now, Panama's President Mulino is pushing back, insisting no foreign nation interferes with their administration, but the evidence suggests otherwise. Federal Maritime Commission Chairman Luis Sola backs up these concerns, pointing out that since 2015, Chinese companies have dramatically increased their presence in Panama. We're talking billions in development contracts, many without competitive bidding, and most concerning of all, many of these companies have direct links to China's military. This isn't just about commerce either. Cruz warns that Panama has been flagging vessels in Iran's ghost fleet, helping funnel tens of billions in oil profits that end up funding global terror operations. As he puts it, we can't afford to turn a blind eye while China makes moves in our hemisphere. A new Chinese AI startup called DeepSeek is causing quite a stir in Washington, and it's looking like déjà vu of the TikTok situation for President Trump. The company's AI assistant has already overtaken ChatGPT to become the top-rated free app on Apple's App Store in the US, But this rapid success is raising serious red flags. Just as we're still dealing with the aftermath of the Supreme Court's TikTok ban ruling, which Trump has temporarily put on hold, we're now facing similar concerns about another Chinese tech powerhouse. The key issue here? Data security and the potential for manipulation, but this time with artificial intelligence in the mix. Former Congressman Patrick McHenry put it bluntly on MSNBC, pointing out that DeepSeek's success proves that faster, better, and cheaper still wins, regardless of whether it comes from a communist state or an open society. But he also raised a crucial question about data transfer that should have us all paying attention. What's particularly interesting is how DeepSeek managed to develop its AI model for just $5.6 million, a fraction of what Western companies are spending. While some Silicon Valley experts are skeptical of this claim, what's undeniable is the company's connections to Beijing. The founder, Liang Wenfeng, recently attended a closed-door meeting with Chinese Premier Li Qiang, raising questions about DeepSeek's role in China's AI ambitions. Tech analysts are already drawing parallels to TikTok, with some arguing that DeepSeek could pose an even greater risk. As Lightshed Partners analyst Rich Greenfield points out, if we're concerned about TikTok's algorithm potentially manipulating users, we should be even more worried about an AI engine that absorbs massive amounts of personal information and could be used to shape viewpoints. This story comes to us from multiple sources, including Newsweek and the Wall Street Journal. Tensions along the southern border have escalated dramatically, with a recent armed confrontation between U.S. Border Patrol agents and cartel gunmen near Fronton, Texas. Drone footage captured the alarming scene of armed men brandishing firearms while walking along the riverbank, marking what officials are calling unprecedented aggressive behavior from cartel members. This clash comes on the heels of President Trump's sweeping immigration reforms, including 21 new executive orders designed to crack down on border security. Among these measures is the significant decision to designate cartels as foreign terror organizations and deploy an additional 1,500 troops to support border operations. The incident, which occurred Monday afternoon, saw cartel members opening fire on Border Patrol agents who returned fire. Thankfully, no injuries were reported on either side. Texas Department of Public Safety spokesman Chris Olivares confirmed that the gunmen were fleeing Mexico due to military presence there, seeking refuge on an island between the two countries. In response to these escalating tensions, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has deployed over 400 soldiers from Fort Worth and Houston to reinforce border security. This comes as additional protective measures, including river buoys, are being installed along the Rio Grande to deter illegal crossings. The situation has also had diplomatic ripple effects. Mexico has reportedly received more than 4,000 deportees from the U.S. in the past week alone, while Colombia initially resisted accepting deported migrants before conceding after Trump threatened punitive tariffs. The administration's enhanced enforcement efforts have already shown results, with ICE reporting 956 arrests in a single day across major cities like Chicago, Denver, and Miami. And finally, in our fan-favorite Shaking Your Head segment, we turn to a bizarre story that reads more like a movie plot. Federal agents at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport uncovered a creative but ultimately failed drug smuggling attempt. The suspect, 35-year-old Elaine Perez Pena, was caught with an astounding 14 kilograms of cocaine cleverly hidden in her wheelchair cushions during a layover from Brazil to Newark. What makes this case particularly interesting is that this isn't Perez Pena's first rodeo. She had previously been convicted in 2022 for smuggling cocaine in her suitcase from the Dominican Republic to New York. This prior conviction actually led to the enhanced scrutiny that would be her undoing. When agents noticed something off about her wheelchair cushions during an X-ray scan, they brought in the K9 unit. Sure enough, man's best friend confirmed their suspicions. A quick drill test revealed white powder, and further investigation uncovered 14 1-kilogram packages of cocaine, each worth about $17,000, totaling a street value of $238,000. The kicker? After being detained, Perez Pena was observed pacing her cell without any difficulty, apparently not needing the wheelchair or cane she'd been using. This case joins a growing list of similar attempts, including recent incidents in Houston and Charlotte where smugglers also tried using wheelchairs to conceal their contraband. Well, folks, what a whirlwind of stories we've covered today. From mysterious drones over New Jersey turning out to be mostly harmless, to serious concerns about Chinese influence over the Panama Canal. We've seen how technology, both through DeepSeek AI and drug smuggling techniques, continues to challenge our national security framework. These stories paint a complex picture of America's current challenges. We're dealing with sophisticated threats from multiple angles, whether it's cartel violence at our borders, foreign influence over critical infrastructure, or the evolving landscape of artificial intelligence. Each of these issues requires careful consideration and balanced solutions. But what's clear is that we're in a period of significant change, where the lines between domestic and international security are increasingly blurred. Follow us on X at RantingRP or on the web at rantingpolitics.com, where you can now leave us a voicemail for our Ask Us Anything segments, give feedback, or alert us to topics we should be covering, and also subscribe to our newsletter. This is JOC signing off, and thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics headline updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.